Hi, my YouTube friends. I know it's been a while, a couple of weeks since I've uploaded any type of new videos, content, and I do apologize. I've been just under the weather, not feeling well, still not feeling well, but I wanted to kind of get back in routine. So today I've got a couple of videos lined up that I'm actually working on, but today I want to bring attention to Missing Janet Renee Fields. It's been a little over 7 years, and the Fluvanna County, Virginia Sheriff's Office, they've recently asked for the public's help to determine what happened to Janet. Again, Janet Renee Fields, she's been missing a little over 7 years. Janet went missing or was last seen on July the 2nd of 2014 by her husband, Renee Fields. Now, according to the sheriff's office, Lewis, her husband, told officials that the couple, that him and her, had gotten into an argument and that Janet left in her vehicle, which was a Subaru Forester, and Janet has not been seen since. Now, her vehicle was found a couple of days later on July 4th, 2014, at a park and ride parking lot in Zion Crossroads near Interstate 64 in Louisa County. The sheriff's office says they do suspect foul play in Janet's disappearance. Let's go over some information, some details that the sheriff's department has released, and some of the things that her family has came out and said. And let me go ahead and get this out. Now, she goes by the name Renee, and so in the video, I'm actually going to start referring to her by her name or her middle name, Renee, since that's what she goes by. So her purse, her vehicle keys, and her mobile phone were found in her car, but her Virginia driver's license and any currency that she may have had and her credit cards were all missing. So Renee's family, they did speak out, and her dad said that typically they did weekly phone calls, and I think it was Mondays that they had their weekly phone calls. So we spoke to her the Monday prior. Everything seemed okay, he said. And Ivan, Renee's father, he said that everything seemed normal, nothing out of the ordinary. And he said the next phone call came a couple of days later. He knew that it wasn't their typical Monday phone call, but he answered the phone, and it was Renee's husband, Lewis. And Lewis called around 11:30 p.m. that night, and he wanted to know if Renee was at their house, and he told him that she was not. And that's when Lewis told them that Renee had left around 1 p.m. in her car on her own accord and had not come home since. And Lewis said that after getting the phone call, he tried calling his daughter's phone himself, and it was ringing, but she did not pick up. No one could reach Renee. So the next day, her husband, Lewis, he went by the sheriff's office and he filed a missing persons report. He said he last saw his wife, Renee, the day before on July the 2nd when she left home after the couple had a small argument, is what he said. And the captain said the way it was initially reported, it didn't sound like anything extraordinary. You know, he said it's not uncommon for husbands and wives to get into arguments, fights, and need a day or two apart. But now the original deputy who took the report, he ended up calling the captain fairly quickly, per the captain, and said something didn't seem right, that something just did not click. So I found that, kind of strange that, and I couldn't find really any more detail on that. Why did that deputy think things were strange, that just something did not click? And, I'm curious if you guys are familiar with this case, and I would love to know why that deputy just felt kind of uneasy about the situation. But Captain Wells said an investigation began immediately, but the circumstances of the case gave them very few avenues to explore. He said Renee, she was a fairly isolated person, that they talked to her neighbors, but Renee and her husband lived on 22 acres. So it's not like you can canvass the neighborhood and ask neighbors if they saw or heard anything. And there weren't a lot of possible witnesses to interview, said the captain. And he said that Renee also did not have any social media accounts, so that put her even further off of the grid. They did start doing the usual things to try to track her, such as tracking her phone, her credit card, and they could not find anything of significance. And just nothing was helpful to locate Renee. Now, Renee's cousin Bridget, she spoke to Dateline. Her and Renee grew up together, and she said there's absolutely no possible way that Renee would have left on her own accord. She says Renee was a very private person, that Renee only talked to a few people, she didn't leave the house a whole lot, and she just can't see her up and leaving and not letting her family know what was going on. And she also had a cat that she was extremely fond of. It was like her child, and she would have never left that cat unattended. And so the captain said that, just this information that he was getting from the family, it goes to disprove the theory that Renee met some guy and just moved away on her own accord, that just not something that would have been typical of Renee. But a break finally did come. As I told you earlier, they did find her car on July the 4th. They were checking the area for cars, they were checking parking lots, and her car was found about 20 miles from her house. And her car was in the Ride and Park parking lot. There were no broken windows, no blood stains. It just looked like someone had parked Renee's car there. And there were surveillance cameras in that area, but from what the captain said, it's just the cameras weren't directly there in the parking lot, and from what they see, they cannot see who actually drove that car into the parking lot. That, they did check the area cameras. They actually even brought bloodhounds, cadaver dogs to search the woods surrounding the park and ride area, but nothing of significance was ever recovered. Now, Renee's father Ivan, and her mom, they live about 90 minutes away in Lexington, Virginia. But Ivan and Irene, his wife, again, Renee's parents, they drove down after the car was found. And Ivan said that he never knew that they were having any type of marital problems until after this happened, until his daughter went missing. He said that he would have told his daughter just to let him go, and that she probably didn't say anything to him because she did not want him to be worried. But again, we know that they were having marital problems because the captain did say that Lewis confirmed to the authorities that they were having marital problems. They had this small argument right before Renee went missing that day. And the captain says, obviously, in any case, when a spouse goes missing, statistically speaking, people always look at the spouse. And they have interviewed Lewis at depth on some things, and the captain said they are not 100% satisfied with some of his answers, that Lewis is a very flat person and he's difficult to get a read on. And the captain did say that Lewis initially cooperated with authorities, and he even took a polygraph test, but the polygraph test did show indicators of deception. And Lewis ended up moving away to Texas sometime later, so he sold his and Renee's home and he moved to Texas. And I know that Dateline had tried to reach Lewis for comment, and they never got a reply back. So, as of today, I do not know if Lewis is still living in Texas, just kind of under the radar, not wanting to do any type of interviews. But regardless, very interesting that, again, we see a married couple having a small argument, and it does remind me of the Chula Vista mom, Maya Miliete, missing. And, Larry said, Maya's wife, that they had a small argument and Maya went missing. This reminds me of that case, but it happens all the time. And I'm not sure why now, a little over 7 years later, the police are wanting this case out there again to speak about this case, to try to get more information. Obviously, everybody wants Renee found, but I don't know if they ended up getting more information or whatnot. But it's a case I wanted to bring to you guys, and let me get back to the case because I think this is kind of important too. So one of the neighbors of Lewis and Renee, he said that one day he saw a refrigerator in the back of Lewis's truck after Renee went missing, and he says he recalled that they went to the dump and they found the refrigerator, but there was nothing suspicious in it. And again, reminds me of the Maya Miliete case because we know a deep freezer was taken from that property. So just crazy, these two things, just similarities, but nonetheless, to date, Renee has not been found. Unfortunately, her mother did pass away, and Ivan, her dad, said she thinks, her mom just grieved herself to death after Renee went missing. And it's sad because this family, their daughter's been missing 7 years. And now not only is Ivan missing his daughter, his wife just passed away. And of course, they hope someday she'll be found. Ivan says he does not believe that his daughter's still alive, nor do the authorities. Of course, they hope she is, but they feel it's a very slim chance. And at this point, they just want to find her body. Now, her family did set up a Facebook page for Renee for any information that anyone may have. And I'm going to link that Facebook page in the comments section. Renee, or her name again, it's Janet, but she goes by Renee. But Janet Renee Field, she's 5'7", and she weighed around 130 pounds at the time of her disappearance. She had short blonde hair and blue eyes. If you have any information, any details surrounding Renee's disappearance, please call 434-589-8211. And as always, thank you all for watching.